Right. So, welcome everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I know we kind of put this on the schedule last minute, but we wanted to offer a iNaturalist training for those of you who are super into mushrooms. This is going to be mushroom geared, but we thought it would be helpful to have before our foray coming up here, which is September 20th. If you're not part of the Western PA Mushroom Club, our annual foray is this time of year every year. And we have less than 20 tickets left. So if you want to come to our foray in North Park, make sure you sign up for that real soon. And we can always put the link in the chat for you all as well. But I know the link for this training got shared all around to lots of different clubs. So welcome if you are from a rival mushroom club where we're all mushroom friends, no rivals, right? So welcome. We're going to talk about iNaturalist today and how to use it and help answer some questions so that we can be documenting science for everyone. So, my name is Julie. I'm the Senior Director of Education and Curriculum for Allegheny Land Trust and also the Vice President of the Western PA Mushroom Club. And my coworker Sarah is going to do most of the presenting. Like I said, I'm here for color commentary and to help answer questions and monitor and record all that kind of stuff. But Sarah's our education associate for ALT and the secretary of the Mushroom Club. So we work together in multiple different ways. So I am going to mute and let Sarah take over.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. Yep, I am Sarah, and I've been with Allegheny Land Trust for a couple years now. And just for clarification, we are discussing the iNaturalist Classic today. They made a newer app, a newer version of the app. It is now called just iNaturalist. But this is geared towards iNaturalist Classic because the new app is only made for Apple and iPhone. And they don't have one for Android quite yet. And I have been a lifelong Android user, so I can't help with iPhone applications.
I'm an iPhone diehard, so here's also why we have both of us here today, is to answer both the Android and the Apple product questions. But that new app is also not available for desktop. It has only been released for iPhone, so we didn't want to spend too much time on it for a very small percentage that may even have it. And you can still download the classic as well. So you're not being forced into the new iNaturalist yet, so we can kind of answer those I can answer those questions kind of separately because I do have it downloaded. So, yeah, there we go. Continue on.
All right, and if you've never heard of our organization before, we are a nationally accredited nonprofit organization dedicated to helping local people save local land. We've been around for 30 plus years, and we have so far conserved around 4,000 acres within Allegheny County and a few surrounding communities. Some notable properties or green spaces include Dead Man's Hollow, our largest property, Barking Slopes, Churchill Valley Greenway, and some locations in Sewickley like Devil's Hollow and Audubon Greenway. And those places are open to the public to visit. You can hike on some trails there, and some of those places are really cool to look for mushrooms as well. All right. So, first of all, if you're new to iNaturalist, have no idea what it is, it's basically an online social network of people sharing their biodiversity information. They are taking photos of things they find in nature, things that are alive, and uploading them to this app. So other people, other naturalists, other science professionals can see what they are observing and comment on them. And it's also has a fairly decent AI to help identify what you have found and help suggest identifications. So it basically crowdsources all of this information to help us better understand the world's biodiversity. And I like to say it is also a nice window into seeing what's around your area, what people are discovering. You can also look at what people are finding in South America or Africa. You can explore different biomes just using this app alone. So it's really cool. But like all community science applications, we have a mix of professionals and non-professionals using this app. Therefore, take the information with a little grain of salt. So it's not always going to be 100% that is absolutely what it is. Just know that there's room for error within this app. Just so we know, to download or join iNaturalist, you can set up an account through the desktop, which is what we are looking at now. Hi, Earl. Um, and you would just pick your username and a decent password.
Would you be interested in going to Abercrombie tomorrow in the morning instead of him?
Sorry, I had to mute somebody. Please
Oh,
stay
okay.
muted unless you have a specific question.
Um, so you would log in with your chosen username and password. It will be the same login information for the app on your phone. You can set this up on your desktop or through your phone. Username and password are the same for both applications. Okay. And I think they took away the login with Facebook. I think this is a image of the older version of the app, but I think this is no longer available. Okay. So, operating or navigating the app. So this is a screenshot of my Android phone. So once you've created your account, you've opened the app on your phone. If you've never had any observations, this will appear blank. So these are all the photos and things that I found. Um, These three bars in the top here, the top left corner, that's your main menu. If you were to click that, their screen would look like this, and it's a big drop down. You can explore the things around you. You can examine other projects that you've joined or see projects nearby. We'll get in more into how to join a project. Some uh, traditional nature guides. This is the activity. This notifies you if someone has recently commented on one of your findings. People can message you through iNaturalist. If you received a message, it'll appear in this category. Missions, that's not something I use very much. I don't know, Julie, have you ever used this before?
Nope.
Okay, and we won't be using this for Mushroom Club either. You can edit your profile. You can add a little fun picture of yourself and some details about yourself, your occupation, that as it pertains to using iNaturalist. Some people on here declare that they are research professors associated with this college. They're collecting data on this specific thing. That's all the things you would find in somebody's profile. Settings to adjust what you enable iNaturalist to do for you. More about the app, and of course, if you ever need help with anything. And you can also add in an observation through the main menu, the menu as well. But on an Android, you can also add an observation on your main screen. It shows up as this little green dot with a plus sign. In an iPhone, I think that looks a little different. Is it a camera, Julie? Is it a camera icon for
It's a
adding
camera.
observations? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so that's the gist of navigating the app on your phone. Once you've added a new observations, when you're uploading an observations, you can choose to upload a photo you've already taken, something that is stored within your phone's camera or media. You can take a photo right through the app. So as soon as you take a photo, as soon as you hit this button, it'll pull up a camera. You snap a picture of the critter you're observing, and it uploads automatically. There are also options to record sounds. or choose a sound to upload. With mushrooms, I don't think we'll be using that. I will be very surprised if you find a singing mushroom. Um, Once you've done that and it uploads your photo, you can add more than one photo, which is nice about the classic app. I hear in the newer version of the app, that's a little tough to do. You can take multiple photos, but it's a challenge to get them where you want them to be. That's the feedback I've been receiving for the newer app. But with the classic app, it's pretty straightforward to upload as many photos as it will allow you. There is a limit, but you can add quite a few. Um, then right under the photos, you will see a little what did you see prompt. It will appear gray for most people and a little camera in brackets underneath this. I put that there, the words, what did you see in yellow. But if you tap that, it will populate a list of options of what it think it could be. Sometimes it'll come up with a family or a genus. They're pretty confident it's in this family or pretty confident that it's in this genus. Um, and then it'll give you a list of species and it'll tell you if it's expected nearby. The AI is running off of what has been found in the area. And you can select what you agree with in this list of options. And then um, once you select that, you can add notes as well. Something noteworthy, especially for mushrooms, you can make notes about its habitat, um, texture, color change, like how quick a color may change, especially if you're looking at boletes. You can say it's stained rapidly or it's stained slowly, things like that. Date and time are usually automatically selected and entered for you. And you do have some control over location visibility. It gives you three choices. Open, which it records the most accurate GPS coordinates, and you are pinpointed on a map. You can obscure your observation, which means the general area is noted, but your exact location will not be shared with anybody. And private, which means your location is hidden. For the foray, we do want this open. If you're iNatting things in your backyard, you would probably want to select private if you don't want your yard location, your home location shared with the rest of the iNaturalist world. Is it captive or cultivated? So that is asking, did you plant it? Did somebody plant it? Is it a captive animal in a zoo? Things like that. So, um, for mushrooms, for what we're doing, that we shouldn't be checking that box. Um, and then you would select a project. For the foray, we'll have, I think, a couple projects that you can select, or um, they will either be automatically uploaded to the project. That it depends on how the project was set up. There are umbrella projects and then there are collection projects. I think the collection projects, they just automatically capture what is in that area and put it into the project. Umbrella projects, you have to physically go in and select and check the box to be for your observation to be recorded in that particular project. And we'll get more into joining projects a little later. Okay. Oh, and here's how we join a project. So for starters, you would go to the project section of the app. For an Android, you would go to the side menu and tap on your projects. In the iPad, you would tap on the projects in the navigation bar. Then you would tap on the little magnifying glass that gives you an option to search for a specific project. If you don't know the name, you can start typing it into the little search bar. Sometimes they automatically populate. Sometimes you have to put the full name in. And then you would go, you would just tap and join. You would tap join to be a part of that project. And it will appear in your projects menu, when you go and select, when you are uploading observations and you are looking to add it to a project, it should appear in a drop-down menu, much like the one I have here on the right side of the screen. Those are my projects that I have joined. I do know this is one we will absolutely be using at the 4A, the WPMC, Western Pennsylvania Fungi Project. And that is one I have to actively check the box each time I upload a photo to that project. Okay. All right. Some rules of thumb when you are uploading photos. So for iNaturalist, it will not just work off of just any old blurry photo. You want your images to be very clear. You want to be able to know what people want to know what they're looking at, right? And you can only upload living things only. If you upload a picture of a car, brace yourself. People will not be very happy. And they will have some things to say about that.
I see it more
Um,
with rocks. People like to
only
upload pictures of rocks.
that's unfortunate.
I see that
Um,
more than anything.
um, now, if there are lichens on the rock, that's a different story. So only one species per observation. If you cannot separate all the little critters in that particular photo, then you would Photoshop that or put it through some sort of so you circle that creature and then upload it. And always label it something. If you have no idea what it could be, especially with the Mushroom Club, just calling it a fungi is perfectly acceptable. Um, and the more details you have about it, the better. So include lots of photos, include notes, and take front and side of the mushroom in question. I have a couple examples here of some photos that I've uploaded to iNaturalist at the 4A a couple years ago. I think this was from. But for mushrooms, you want to look at the top of the cap, include some photos with the top of the cap, what's under the cap, the stem, any staining or color changes. And if you can slice the mushroom in half and get a cross section of it too. And in some cases, if you have multiple individuals of the same species, you can arrange them in different angles and different ways. So you get the cap, the underside, all in one photo. You also want to include a bit of the mushroom's habitat too. So these were chicken fat boletes. They grow in the grass, they grow under conifers, which is something I would have noted in the notes. And especially during the foray and at the Cook's Forest foray, you will have mycologists and identifiers there with these slips right here, these white slips. So make sure your photo includes the mushrooms on an entire slip here. And the slip is, you can put as much information on there as you feel comfortable doing. At least you want to put your iNaturalist username on the slip. That way they can link it back up. If they DNA it, they can trace it back to you because we want to give people credit if you found something brand new. So make sure your iNaturalist username is on the slip and visible in the photo. Also, make sure this number at the bottom corner of the slip, this pound 9356, they're different on different slips, but make sure those numbers are visible also within the photo. And this generally includes some habitat information on habitat that are little check boxes. If you found it growing in a deciduous or a coniferous forest, you can check off those boxes. Any notes on the slip, and things like that. Who it was collected by, verified by, and of course, genus and species at the very top, and if there is a common name associated with it. Um, so that's the 101 or rules of thumb of
I
uploading a
want to
mushroom.
I want to pause right here and I want to show
Mhm.
you some examples of what not to do because while your photos do not have to be like 10 out of 10, I spent $500 on a camera. I have the newest phone that has the best camera. we don't you don't have to be that good. Like you don't have to be an award-winning photographer, but I do want to show you what you shouldn't do. So, Sarah, if you can stop share, I'm going to share my screen so that I can show you some examples of what maybe we should not do. And let me pull up my screen. Here we go. Takes me a second. Do, do, do. And my mouse is dying. Slideshow from current slide. All right. I wanna show you guys some examples of what maybe we should not be putting on iNaturalist because I come across these. I spend probably more time than I care to admit sitting on iNaturalist going through and like identifying things because once everybody puts all of that information onto iNaturalist, other people come through and then say, yes, I agree with that, or no, I don't think that's what that is, or oh, you said it's, a crab spider, but I can take it to species, or whatever it may be. So, here are some real world examples that I took directly off of iNaturalist while identifying of not good ideas. So tis the season, it's back to school season, right? And there are a lot of really well-meaning, fantastic science teachers out there that want to incorporate iNaturalist into their school curriculum, but maybe don't have the time or capacity because 25 kids in a classroom using it is a lot to manage. And there are always groups of kids who put wacky things on iNaturalist as part of a school project. So one of my personal favorites was this either AI generated or they took this image. It doesn't look to be a jungle, but that is a jungle cat. Um, and put that on iNaturalist. That's not something that needs to go on there because it's not a real thing that you did not find that here. The second photo is a well-meaning person wanting to know what the tracks in the snow were. However, that particular image is not going to yield you much other than like state of matter life, because we can't tell if that's an animal or a person's tracks. So tracks in the snow, totally a cool thing to do. But zoom in on just like a track of an animal, of what it may be, and give us some size measurements with it too. You can't just give us a whole bunch of tracks in the snow. And hope we figure it out, right? And then the photo on the right here, tons of really cool macroinvertebrates in there, but we have no idea what you want identified. So you gotta circle and you can go on your phone or on your computer before you upload the photo, go under the edit button and you can draw circles around what you want identified because there should only be one species for observation. So I would circle, say, this dragonfly nymph on the bottom left here, if you can see. I would circle that if that's what I wanted identified, just so it's clear to the people what you actually want identified in your photo. Some more not so great examples. Photo on the left, mushrooms, but we'll probably never get down past that because that's all we can see of them. And we see the top and nothing else. We don't see the stem or the underside, if it's gills or pores. The second one is an image that is clearly a captive or cultivated plant, but wasn't marked as such. So if you do, like, let me be clear, iNaturalist does not love captive cultivated things. It does not, that's not the intention of iNaturalist, is to document things like these geraniums, probably, begonias, I don't know, some sort of ornamental plant, I don't know. Um, but if you do that and you really want to know what your neighbor's plant is on their deck, you can do that, but you need to mark it as captive cultivated. And when you mark it as captive cultivated, it takes it to what's called a casual observation, and a little gray banner will appear at the top and says casual, and that will no longer be used towards scientific data. And that's important because when you don't mark things captive cultivated, like that alligator on the right, somebody went to the zoo and saw that alligator and did not mark it captive cultivated, it then shows up on the map for scientists who are using this in their scientific papers or grant writing. It shows an alligator living in the middle of essentially the Allegheny National Forest, or I forget where this was, for example, but that can throw off some scientific research and be harder for scientists to filter through all of that stuff. So if you go to the zoo and you're like, I don't know what that is, or I see a lot of times people go to FIPS, our local conservatory, plant conservatory we have here, and document all the plants in FIPS. That's all well and good, but you got to mark it as captive cultivated because these rare, beautiful orchids are not growing in downtown Pittsburgh, right down the street from all the college frat houses. That would not be a prime ideal habitat. And one more that is more for you than anything. I found this picture on iNaturalist, and I have so many questions. For one, iNaturalist doesn't want to document your cat. I'm assuming that's what they were documenting here was the cat. But two, why is the cat next to your slow cooker? I don't know. There's a lot happening in this photo, but the main issue is that black bar had this person's personal information clearly visible on the photo that they uploaded to iNaturalist. Don't do that. Just safety's sake. I mean, iNaturalist is a very safe, secure network, but just don't share your personal information like that, just for everybody's safety and sake. We don't need your address and your whole name, and your phone number was on there, so just be really, really careful with that kind of thing. We don't want your personal information out there just for anybody. And take it, I had my identity stolen like 5, 6 years ago, and it took until like last year to get it sorted out. It has been a nightmare. Don't put your info anywhere. I don't wish that process on my worst enemy. So don't put your personal info in there. But I will quit sharing. I just wanted to give you those examples of maybe what not to do as well as what to do. So, Sarah, I will let you go back to sharing again.
Thank you. You have to stop sharing.
Don't tell me what to do. No, I'm kidding. The button was blocking in the way. Okay, all yours again.
Awesome. All right. Here we go. Yeah. Thank you, Julie. All right. So, research grade. So, um, if your observation is research grade, you'll have this really cool little green banner at the bottom of your photo. And what that really means is that one, all of your data fields have been completed. That includes the date, location, ID, and it is not marked captive or cultivated. Two, the community agrees on species level ID or lower, and especially when more than two-thirds of identifiers agree on a taxon. So usually when you upload a photo, have it down to genus and species, and then somebody else agrees with you, it usually goes research grade. Um, or three, the community agrees on ID between family and species and votes that the community's taxon is as good as it can be. We do have some species complexes, especially with mushrooms, that get a little hairy, and that's really all the farther we can get in some of these cases. So in this, basically, it's a tool that helps assess data quality, especially for when researchers are looking to crowdsource data on something that they are studying. They can pull from research grade observations, which are most likely to contain what they are looking for. They will have to go in and vet it even further, but it is super helpful to getting started on pulling pretty good data on what you want. So, as I've mentioned, some of these observations may be premature, may reach research grade prematurely. That happens when you suggest an ID, it's actually wrong, and then somebody else agrees with you. Doesn't make it correct. It's still wrong, but it'll still flag it as research grade, even though you both came to a consensus on an identification that happens to be incorrect. It happens sometimes because it invites public participation and mistakes will happen. All right. All right, so we looked at the app, but here's how you can navigate a little bit more within the desktop. So I'm actually going to stop sharing this presentation. I will go into my desktop, which I think I have to go back. So when you open your desktop, it should look like this. So this is your profile. This is just my main page. Um, this is the home page here. You can go to your profile. The internet's being a little sluggish. All right, then you can upload a fun photo of yourself or an image. Tell more about yourself. These are your observations. Put in there. And if I wanted to see anything from a particular project from this, and that just, well, that's how many observations I've taken. Those are individual observations. These are how many species that I've found so far. These are how many people have commented on the things that I've found. And the one observer there's only one observer, that's yourself, for your own profile. Great. If I wanted to go to a particular project, would go to your little icon. It will populate a drop-down menu, go to projects, and it'll show all the projects that you've already joined, right? And you would just click on the project that you wanted to see all of the observations for. So let's pull up the Western Pencil Mushroom Club's project. There we go. And these are all of the observations that have been added to the project. It populates a map where you can see where all of the observations were taken. There's a lot. And the fun thing about iNaturalist is that it keeps stats. It'll tell you who observed the most of that particular species or within that particular project, who has the most observations. John Plishke, no surprise there, has the most mushroom observations within this project. And I think possibly like in the world. Did he achieve that?
He maybe.
Or came
I don't
close?
know off the top of my head, but he's
Okay.
pretty darn close, if not.
Right. So that's how we get into projects. If you needed to search for a new project, projects, and all projects. And then here you would search for a particular project in there. Don, what is our project for the foray? Is it set up yet?
It has been set up, and I'll put the link in the chat here in just a second. If I
Can you tell
remember
me the
right off
name?
the top, I believe it is called WPMC 4A Link Off 4A 2025.
All right. There it is. And
Yay.
that's the project. You would select it and join it on the day.
So you can select that on the day, but that is a collection project. So automatically, if you're in Cook Forest or you're in North Park during the days of the 4A, to also include the fluorescent 4A that happens on Thursday night before the 4A. Hint, 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 anybody thinking about coming to Cook Forest with us. You will automatically be wrapped into that project just by being an iNaturalist member. And if you pick fungi, you have to, at very, very minimum, pick fungi or slime mold. So even though we can't DNA slime mold, we still include those in that project.
Thank you. All right. Right. And if you just wanted to explore what people are finding, the most recent observations, it'll you just hit the little explore tab up there and it'll pull up whatever people have been most recently observing. It isn't really location specific. These are just recent things that have been uploaded around the world. So, And if you wanted to identify some things,
I was going to say you can search observations by region too, like all the way
mhm.
down to, your town, or you can let it pinpoint you on the map and zoom in on the map and see what's been found around your house.
Yeah, and I also talk about how to filter data also on the desktop. Um, you can only do that on the desktop as of now. But if you want to help identify some stuff, just click on this and it'll pull up observations that have not been designated as research grade, and they still need folks to evaluate those finds and agree, disagree, comment on, and things like that. Right. And if you wanted to upload an observation on your desktop, um, all you have to do is hit upload, and you would import a photo, a file, into your desktop, and you will do basically the same exact things you would do on the app, but just on the desktop. Right. And to navigate or filter data, you would go to your observations, go to filters, and let's say you only wanted to filter out all of the fungi that you have found so far. Or if you wanted to put a range, like say you only wanted to focus on fungi that you found in April or May or a specific date range, you could do that as well. You can select what grade you want those observations to be. So if you only wanted to select research grade observations, you could do that. If you were going to select the category, make sure it's mushrooms. This stands for protozoans or your slime molds. So all of these little symbols stand for something, like they're pretty self-explanatory of bird, amphibian, reptile, mammal, fish, mollusks, arachnids, insects, and plants. There's where you would put in either your exact date, a range of dates, or the particular month. I'm going for any. You can filter out based on people, projects, if there's anything in a project, and place. So if you can only, you can put in whatever you found in, say, Pennsylvania, and it'll populate some options for you as you start typing. Okay. And then you would update your search. And it is only showing all of my research grade finds within the state of Pennsylvania. Just like that. You can also export data in an Excel spreadsheet. That's usually an application that folks who are writing papers, and also if you're submitting to the ID button, Mushroom ID button program, that is something you'll want to do as well. So basically, any observation you find in Pennsylvania that is research grade, you want to download. And it'll give you a list, and you would send that list off to Julie as an Excel file. And then she can go in and verify your finds and see if you qualify for a button or not.
Yeah, I don't need the Excel file. All I need is your link to your profile with this information. You can just send me the link and I will see it. No Excel file required anymore.
Oh, that's nice. I had to do the Excel file.
I know, I switched it up.
Cool.
Much easier
Uh,
now.
Awesome. Great. Let's go. There we go. All right. Oh, and this is the example. If I were to upload an observation or photo, this is what the desktop would look like. Those same app functions just looks a slightly different on the desktop. And this is actually Julie's account. She's just going through the motions of identifying this really cool um, hawk moth caterpillar. Right. And we do this filtering data. Okay. With that, do we have any questions?
I have one of my favorite things that I like to do. Can you demonstrate how to follow somebody? Because I think that for those of us that are trying to learn our way through iNaturalist, there's a really fun feature, and I think Julie was the one who taught it to me, if I remember right, on how to follow an individual on iNaturalist. So for instance, whenever you're first becoming a more advanced mushroomer, it's kind of nice to follow some of your mushroom heroes, in which case I think Julie was of my heroes. Eventually, Sarah became one of my heroes once I found out what her username was. But it was a nice way to kind of spend the winter looking at mushrooms and learning some of the things that other people had found.
Julie, I've never followed anybody on iNat. Um,
What? You don't follow me? I'm so offended. No, I'm kidding. Sarah and I have known each other like 15 years, so we can jest back and forth. Let me share again. Hold on. And I have to remember how to do it because I feel like it's been a long time since I've followed somebody. So let me share my desktop here.
You can
Cool,
also
cool.
tag people too in your observations if you want that particular person to be notified that you found something cool that they think that they might know of or be interested in.
Okay, so here is my iNat. And Dawn, let's see if I'm following you. Let me type you in because up here at the top, you can go to, you can search for things and people. So you can search and see. I know, like, this is a fun data mining thing. We're like, man, I really want to see a violet coral. Where are they? And you can type in violet coral and see which ones have been closest to you and then try to go find it from there. But let me get to Dawn's profile. Where's that follow button? Am I already following Dawn? Ugh. Now the problem is I need to find somebody I'm not already
It's,
following.
yeah, I
Oh
was
no,
gonna
there it
say
is. Okay. No, I
it's
see it. I
right
see
near
it.
my name. Yeah, so you could
Yeah, so if
unfollow me and then
you
refollow me.
Yeah, I see it. If you have someone you really are interested in following, you can find their profile on iNaturalist, and then once you're at their profile, here's their picture, hi Dawn, and their username. You can send them a message, and you can message back and forth about specimens, or researchers will reach out and ask you to like, hey, we're studying xylaria in this particular region. Can you save samples for me and send them? And you'll get messages about that sometimes too. But there's also this little follow button right here to the right. And if I click on it, I am now officially following Dawn. So when I go back to my iNaturalist home screen, and here's my home screen, I clearly haven't logged in, and yeah, that's about 84 notifications. That's about 1 to 2 days worth of not logging in for me. But on my home screen, under all updates, when I scroll down, it kind of becomes like a way less toxic Facebook feed of all the people you follow and what they're up to. So this is like the social aspect of it where you can follow folks and then you can see what they're observing and you'll see what they're identifying. So if I scroll down, Lost Culture, that's one of our club members. That is Richard. I can see he just made some really cool observations. He saw cauliflower mushroom and white port, chicken of the woods. And you can see anybody you follow will pop up here, and not just what they're seeing, but what they might be identifying for other people too. So I really like that. You can follow, the people who you are really enjoying learning from or no, just are really great. And like Dawn said, so let me go. I'm gonna go to one of Sarah's observations and I'll show you how to tag folks so that um, they know and will get a notification. So if you go under somebody's observation here. So Sarah saw lynx paw oyster here, and you see she knew what it was, but other people have popped in and said. And I will come down here and hit the comment button, and you just use somebody's. It's just like tagging on any social media. So Dawn, I'm going to tag you just as an example.
Yep, sounds great.
Dawn Wayman, look at this. And then you just hit done, and she will get a notification on her homepage now that I tagged her in this, and she can click on it and go see it, and then be able to either comment or ID. I know I tag John and Kara a whole lot if I have questions about things, or Garrett if I see a lichen, I'll tag Steven, just because I want them to see it and tell me what it is right away. So tagging folks is a great way to engage and sometimes get some of your burning observations ID'd a little bit quicker. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, Julie, can you
So,
scroll down a little bit?
Oh, sure.
So you can also fave the observation by clicking this over here.
Yep.
And that'll
Boop.
populate in a list for you of all the observations that you are really enjoyed or really were interested in. It'll populate in your home screen tab, I think.
All the way
There's
back
a
at the
little tab that
beginning.
says your favorites back right there. Yeah.
I don't think I've favorited too many, but here's some cool ones.
so Julie and Sarah, just to supplement that, for those of you that are attending walks within the club or, obviously with other clubs, one of the things that you can do as far as using that at feature is if you know your identifier that led your walk and you're trying to work your way up to your number of research grade observations in order to earn your buttons, you can very easily call out your identifier and say, hey, at Dawn Wayman, when we were on our walk today, I think you told me this was a lynx paw. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a great way to tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, help, I'm working towards my research grade. And as identifiers within the club, we absolutely love doing that for you.
Yeah. All right. I will stop sharing again unless Sarah's there anything. Well, too late. I was like, oh, I can always pop back in if there's anything else you want me to point out. Anyone else have questions? You can always come off of mute as well if you would like to ask any questions about anything iNat mushroom related. Let us know. We're happy to help. Going to stop the recording because it doesn't seem like we have any questions, but let me pause the recording. I'm going to say goodbye just so we have an ending to the recording, but you do not have to log out. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to message Sarah or I or anyone in the club if you have questions on iNaturalist.